Repeating yourself and retracing your steps, I would think would be a difficult thing to do in storytelling, but Tappei Nagatsuki of ReZero fame has definitely managed to continue doing that, at least of what I've seen in the adaptation of the series, not really necessarily the light novel, but this is my review of the second part of the second season for ReZero, Starting Life in Another World, a series that has just aired in the winter 2021 season. And yeah, it's definitely a very solid season overall. I found myself getting a little frustrated with certain parts of this repeating idea with definitely with Beatrice of this particular season. But overall, I think the thing that was so welcoming with this particular season was getting so much insight into so many characters that we've kind of known and loved from the first season. That being, Beatrice, Rosewald. Well, I don't know if sure the love falls in category with that character, but and of course, especially Emilia. I mean, one of my arguments that I had with the first season is that there was a huge fandom for Emilia, but we never know the character. We didn't know who the character was. We didn't know her past, and obviously, for story reasons, there was a reason because she didn't know herself. Those memories were trapped away, of course. But I think with this season, it was kind of a let's force everybody to get stuck in one location and let's start diving into these characters. And not even just those characters, we also had new characters that were introduced with the second season, part one. Ryuzu, Garf, Ekidona, a lot of these characters getting into the history. It was technically the history of the sanctuary itself, while also bringing in Emilia as well. And everything that kind of, it seemed like it was a way of showing how all these characters are so connected from one experience, or technically one person, which is Ekidona. And getting into the why those characters are so connected was definitely the surprise of the season. And it's funny because it's one of those things where, as they dive in these characters, similarly especially with characters like Garf, I didn't know that I wanted it, but then when the writer gave it to me, it's like, oh yeah, I wanted that. Thanks for giving that to me. Um, but yeah, overall, just having so many reveals for the characters themselves was truly amazing, and just the inner conflict that Subaru had with Ekidona in the first part led into some very interesting stuff in the second part. Now, I think my only frustration that I had with this particular season was the fact that it's the writer has a really creative way of opening new doors. The creation of the witches and all the things that go around that and the disciples and all that kind of stuff is really fascinating. It was something that, especially getting into the first part of the second season, I was like, oh my gosh, I am loving this aspect of this story. Like this is the part of the world that I want to eat up. I want to see more of this. Introducing like, Pandora and stuff. It's like, oh my gosh, there's another one. I want to know more. But I think my frustration is starting to build after two full seasons of the series, that I kind of think that I have a grasp of the witches and everything, but then they'll reveal things like Pandora, and it completely throws my expectations out the door. Which I think is something that the writer is really good at. He sets these things out, and we make assumptions based on our knowledge of fantasy or the seven deadly sins or stuff like that. We make these assumptions of how this world works, and then the writer blows it up in our face. But at the same time, I'm kind of like, okay, if that's not the case, then why? Why? Tell me more. So while I do love like the insights, the backstories of characters, and some great fantastic animation work as always, and just characters that I absolutely love, every single one of them, I'm getting to the point now where I'm kind of wanting things to start making sense. Like I want to start making sense of things, and it's almost as if the writer's holding his cards, which is it's a good thing. But I'm wondering now, like, are you holding them too long? I'm getting frustrated at this point. So it's kind of a thing in the back of my head at this point. It's like we're two seasons in at this point, and we've been kind of dangling this fruit for quite a while. Can we finally show us the cards? But that aside, I'm still loving the series though. He's a very this writer is incredible with how he tells his stories. Like I said before, it's amazing that you can have you're treading the same steps over and over again with Subaru dying and repeating the same situation without it getting old. And like I said before in my usual impressions, is he does this by looking at each story from a different angle to get more information out of the situation that we didn't know before. As it similarly to with the mansion arc, it was this idea of seeing Rem and Ram in different directions, see their personality from different directions. Were they hostile, a supporter, neutral? How would they react? How is their personality? And seeing these different ways, you often see a person, and when you first meet somebody and they're not mad at you, you'll see this facade they create of themselves. This mask they put on that says, "Hi, how's it going?" But you never see the other side of them. The side that may be hurting, the side of them that might be in trouble, the side of them that they're hiding. And that's kind of where I see from this is you're seeing these different angles. You're seeing Beatrice from when she's cold. You're seeing Beatrice when she's broken. And that is the truly creative and fantastic writing this writer is able to do. And I do really do respect that. And I do think that is why I love the series so much. Not only the fact that they have great character designs, fun characters, great action scenes, all that kind of stuff, and a massive world that he is slowly unraveling, very slowly. It is that writing that keeps me going. It's that writing that makes me see something new every time we turn the page. Even though, like I said, I have those moments where I go, we've tread these waters. We've tried to pull Beatrice out of the room, the library, for the 15th time, it feels like. So, even though I have my frustrations with some of it, it is definitely his writing, and that's what makes him a fantastic writer, and what makes me come back for ReZero over and over again. So, but yeah. Incredible moments this season as well. Some of the fights were incredible. Garf, I don't want to spoil things, but there's a scene with Garf fighting at a certain someone. I thought it was an absolutely incredible fight. Yeah, and the insights into Rosewall was absolutely incredible. Every scene with Ekidona, I think Ekidona is easily come down to being a very incredible character that I just absolutely fell in love with from the very beginning, but always had this feeling, and again, this is another tribute to the writer, is this constant feeling that she's technically a bad person, and you can't really trust her. She puts up this facade that is very playful and so much fun. Her chemistry with Subaru is fantastic, but she's technically still a witch, and she's technically a witch of greed. So let's keep our expectations a little in check with that. But yeah, a certain scene with Minerva was absolutely incredible. Again, I'm being very vague because I don't want to spoil things. A certain scene with Minerva was absolutely incredible, and granted, I am still speculating on that. It's not technically true, or at least confirmed, but it was incredible. But yeah, overall, just a fantastic season overall. It is one of those series that I am still holding true to being one of my favorite series of all time. Even though recently it has been dethroned as one of the best. It's getting knocked down to third place, I think, in my Isekais, but still, it's an absolutely incredible series that I absolutely adore up to this point. So definitely do recommend it. If you have not watched ReZero as a whole, definitely check it out. If you watched season 1 and you were turned off by the series and you are wondering if you want to watch season 2, this is hard. Because I've seen people already talking about this, whether season 1 or season 2 is better. And I do have a little bit of frustration with season 2, specifically in the idea that it felt so confined. And it was so focused on the characters. So if you're a person that likes your characters to be fleshed out, and you haven't watched second season yet, that's where you're going to find your gold. You're going to find these characters getting fleshed out. If you're looking for adventure, you're looking for high action, it's not going to be your season. And it's not going to change your mind, I guess. Because the first season was a lot more about adventuring. There was so many more places they went to. Whereas this season felt very confined. Sanctuary, mansion. That's it. And that did kind of make it feel very confined and almost feel like we never went anywhere. Like it does make it feel like you never went anywhere. But when you actually think about it, you're like, no, we went to places. We've gone through characters. We went through so many characters. We've expanded things. We've changed characters. We've gotten into characters. We've dug into them. But not so much adventure. So if you are seeking adventure, that's where it's kind of feel like you're missing out a little bit. So, but I don't know. Just take what I've said and see if it's something that, intrigues you, and then you can move on from there. But overall, fantastic series. Still love it to death. Some really incredible episodes this season. But that's my thoughts and review of ReZero second season part 2. Definitely let me know in the comments if you enjoyed the series or not. Leave a like if you like this video. Subscribe if you haven't already. And I thank you all for watching, and y'all take care.